So maybe I'm cup half full.
I spent several years of my childhood living in a state that had quite low taxes, and my parents realized after we got to a certain age that, you know, we've got to move to a state like Minnesota that actually does tax people, but that money goes towards funding programs and education and things like that, so that we don't have people experiencing these pains. And so it's frustrating for me and others who, you know, work really hard at their careers and, you know, earn a salary and are wanting to grow in that. And I look at my paycheck and I know what I really earned, and then I look at what I bring home and I think, wow, okay, so a lot of my paycheck is going to help fund some of these things. Now, again, I have it in my heart to give more than that as well, so I do. So it frustrates me a little bit when, again, walking across this median and I'm seeing cars handing money out the window, practically causing an accident behind them. That's frustrating for me. But so what the first solution, I feel like we've got to remove the motivation, as someone else said on the panel here. If there's not a payoff for the activity, then they're going to have, you know, people who are in need of help are going to be forced to go to all these services that we provide all over the place to help them get them what they really need: medication, mental health care, a bed, food, you know, etc. And I agree again with the housing thing. We have sent several teams of people along with grocery bags, every grocery bags of food out to serve at several of these, I don't know, shelters, or soup kitchens, that's probably an older term, but and as soon as that meal is served, the doors get shut, and all these people were forced out of the shelter onto the cold street in December, and we all drove to the office to go to work. Well, I'm wondering, where are they going all day? And why is this building going to now sit empty all day? So I understand there's nowhere to go for a lot of these people, and what they need is warm, someplace warm they can go and be safe, and I know that, and I understand that. And then I also feel like we need to create, as a state, benefit gaps, encourage people to get some kind of income. I feel like there's more benefits for people to not take a job, because if they take a part-time job, well, then their benefits go down in another area, and it's actually worse off for them. So I see help wanted signs all over the place. I do. Everywhere I'm going now, I'm seeing help wanted signs, and I keep thinking to myself, why do I have so many friends who can't find jobs right now? And jobs that, you know, not everybody wants to take right away, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and I think I'd personally rather make some coffee in a coffee shop than be on the street.
How to end panhandling. Powerful things that have already been said. I can say I had one real poignant experience that gave me, I have 3 thoughts, and the first one came from a young man I met who had a scholarship to go to college, and yet he found himself signing down at the corner of the Basilica and getting money and fueling his addiction. And I just watched him just kind of go down and down and down and lose his scholarship. And I said to him, you know, why are you out there panhandling? You know, why are you doing that? And he looked at me with just the saddest eyes and he said, Janice, it works. And I still am so touched by that, because you know what? There's a lot we need to do, but the reality is we who give money, and I don't just mean the we, whoever's here, but all of us in the community, as we give money, we're fueling it. I mean, it works. So I think we need to start with ourselves and the people we know and love and say, you know, I don't think we should give money. And I totally say that knowing that I come from a Christian tradition where, when did I see you hungry, Lord, is what haunts me. So it's not an easy thing, right? But I also know that giving the money is not the answer, so we have to stop giving money. Second thing then, we have to give the gift of recognition. As Monica said and others said, I need to reach out and say hello. I need to know who you are. We need to continue to build relationships. And while that feels like a little drop in the bucket, indeed it's the only thing that will really strengthen our community, at least in this moment. You know, you have this time, when did I see you hungry? Okay, and I'm going to give the gift of recognition and see where that brings us. And the third thing I'd say is to get to know the programs that are working on ending homelessness, ending panhandling. St. Stephen's Street Outreach are an incredible resource. And to be able to call them, you know, we have Essie who comes to the Basilica and meets the people in Dunwoody. Get to know them, and before you leave tonight, you're going to get some resources where we can give money, where we can give time, where we know how to vote. Voting is huge. Getting to know your legislator. If they don't hear from us, I live west on 394. When they put that same lane in, they only had it where one way. I tell you, there were so many calls from out in the western suburbs that they changed it. I know change can happen if it's the will of the people. So wouldn't it be neat if the will of the people would be about these issues around, you know, those, not just the panhandling, which again, I think is just a facade. It's just the thing that gets our attention, but those deeper issues. Let's put our will there, and I think it, you know, incredible changes can happen.
Thank you all. These are very thoughtful responses, and for heaven's sake, we're on time in the middle of our evening. We're going to shift to a more conversational relationship to the questions that have come from you who are in attendance. And some of these questions will relate to some of you and not to others, so we're not going to go down the whole row. If you would like to respond to it, do, and we'll see who wants to respond, and we'll go on to another question. One question: if we choose to give to an agency rather than a panhandler, how can I know that the panhandler is benefiting from my donation?
Okay, I'll start. Well, one of the options that we...
Kathy, hold the mic.
One of the options for people, if you want to give money, you're walking on the street, you see someone in need, you want to give money, we have, in partnership with the Downtown Improvement District, the Office to End Homelessness, created a website called Give Real Change. And the website is sponsored by the Family Housing Fund, who has donated 100% of all admin to this. So 100% of all of the gifts we get through that website actually go directly to street outreach. And that street outreach can be for single adults or for youth, but 100% goes to street outreach. So you know, we've had some efforts in the past where I've always felt very uneasy, where people have said, no, don't give money to that person right there. There's all these women and children at the shelter over here who need your help. And that sort of felt very judging of this person, and that they themselves were not worthy of some kind of assistance. So this is a very different program where actually 100% of gifts go directly to street outreach to work with people who are on the streets. Anybody else want to respond to that?
I would only briefly say, some people in our congregation have said, can I have a sign or a card to give people that say, go to the Basilica St. Vincent de Paul, or go to St. Stephen's. And so depending on where you are and where you're sending them, I mean, you can send them directly to St. Stephen's. So, you know, if you wonder, are they going to be served? Well, if you let them know where to go, they'll get the service.
Okay. What is legal panhandling? What can you do and not do as a panhandler?
Legal panhandling is standing there with a sign as long as you're on a public sidewalk, or not the street, of course, but on a public thoroughfare. And then this pink card gives you all of it, but I can't read because I don't have my glasses. So
this one. So there's a couple things. For aggressive solicitation, there has to be two parts. First, it has to be the verbal request for money or an item. The verbal offer or activity provides an item or services of little value for the donation if it does not include passive, standing, sitting, or art performance, signs,